All right, so I guess time for another update. I lost some weight this week, about 2.2 pounds, which is good because I had 2 weeks where I wasn't losing weight, so there was probably a lot of water weight involved in that. And that was after an evening of having a bunch of sugar. So last night I ended up having a bit of a binge with some sugar, um, and shouldn't have, of course, as it was a lot of food that I ate. But just being honest and being real here, talking about what's going on. So, yeah, I had a bunch of sugar last night. I just had some now. So, obviously, I'm kind of off the rails a little bit. I need to get back on. After right now, I consider myself being kind of back on track. So, I plan to not have any more sugar for hopefully a long time. But I'm gonna do it, start day by day, hour by hour, and kind of get it started that way. To think of it in smaller chunks makes it a little bit easier for me sometimes. So yeah, doing that. Other than that, everything's been going well. I've been keeping relatively close on my calories, and kind of getting in what I need to get in every day. Again, the snacking is still a problem for me, so I do eat or do snack more than I should. So the snacking and the sweets are the two biggest downfalls for me. But it seems like I at least kind of powered through it this week, and I need to do better next week. So yeah, I plan to. And I'm going to do, my best to stay on track. So, because I have goals, excuse me, I would like to be happy with the way I look when we go down to Disney World in September. Because the past few years that we've gone, I haven't been happy with any of the pictures. I haven't felt good about myself. And or all the years we've gone actually, I just haven't felt good about myself, or good about those pictures that come out of that. So I'd like to, for once, feel pretty good about myself, and the way I look in pictures. And for me, that just means that I need to lose some weight to get there. Because for me, that's kind of where my comfortability lies. It also makes it easier for me when I've been exercising and when I'm a little bit smaller to make it easier to walk around the park, practically running, because we stay pretty busy when we go, to be able to keep up. I've noticed that when I am less active, when I have a little bit more weight on me, that it's harder to keep up. Um, so I need to stay more active and do those kinds of things, to kind of get down or get to a place where I feel more comfortable, and am able to keep up with less problems. So yeah, I am still doing the couch to 5K. I don't know if I mentioned that in the last video or not, but I'm doing the couch to 5K set series. And it's going well so far. I did end up missing yesterday because my stomach was doing some weird cramping stuff. I'm not sure where that came from. Um, but I do have plans to do the run I missed yesterday today, and then do my third run on Saturday. So, because it's 3 runs a week. So that's kind of the schedule for that program. Um, so yeah, I plan to do that run today at some point. Maybe here soon and a little bit after what I just ate settles a little bit, because I don't want to run on a very full stomach. So I'm gonna do that. For the rest of the day, I do plan to stay on track, and for the rest of the week, and kind of hopefully stay on track a little bit more than I have been here lately. But I feel like I've been doing better this week, than I had the previous 2 weeks for sure. So I'm getting there. It just takes me a while sometimes to kind of get back on track. It's difficult, y'all. It really is. Um, so the draw for me, I believe very strongly that I'm addicted to food, and especially sugar. So for me, that draw is very strong. I don't believe everybody can be addicted to food. I think it takes an addictive personality. I think it takes a certain kind of person to be addicted to food in particular. I know that working on this food addiction has been harder than my nicotine addiction and my alcohol addiction. Both of those were pretty easy for me to give up. But this food addiction has been very, very difficult for me. And I think mainly it's because you have to eat. So you have to eat multiple times a day generally, although you can do one meal a day. Um, and eating multiple times a day means that you're opening yourself up for that kind of floodgate of eating. So for me, when I start eating, I don't want to stop. So I've had moments where, like I mentioned in previous videos, where I would eat a meal and then want a second meal. And I've done that because when I've opened up the floodgates, it just kind of all wants to come in, and my brain just kind of goes kind of ridiculous with that, those cravings, with the want, and it feels like almost a need to eat. So being able to shut that off is definitely something that comes with time, and it takes a lot of effort for me, especially in the beginning. After a while, when I get used to it, it's a little bit easier. So it gets a little bit easier with time. But then if I ever break from the routine and eat something with a lot of sugar in it, or eat something with a lot of salt and fat in it, like potato chips or something like that, then I will definitely end up with those cravings coming back. So yeah, the cravings are the worst part. They're pretty all consuming, which is why I've kind of slipped up a few times in the past few weeks. So it's because I cannot stop thinking about it until I eat it. So the other day, for example, I had cupcakes. They have vegan cupcakes at Publix, which is bad and good at the same time because they taste really amazing. But they're so convenient to get for me because Publix is right down the road. So I just couldn't stop thinking about these cupcakes every single day, every single hour of every single day. That's all I thought about. Um, I mean, of course, I was able to do my work and do my homework and focus on, relationship building and my friends and family and stuff like that. But that was in the back of my mind literally every second of every day when I was awake. And then I'd probably dream about it too. I don't remember my dreams if I don't write them down when I right when I wake up. So I probably dreamt about food as well. But yeah, so it's just kind of on my mind constantly, and it feels like to me, kind of how I felt when I was smoking and when I was giving up cigarettes. It was just always there. That thought that I need a cigarette right now. This is something that would be really good right now. I would feel good if I had it. And then those constant thoughts continually throughout the day. Now, when I was giving up cigarettes, I was definitely still addicted to sugar because I was eating those little wintergreen lifesaver mints every time I had the craving to smoke a cigarette, which was constantly. So I was constantly eating those little mints all day. I remember that I was going through a ridiculous amount of them. And it was just kind of my way of coping with not being able to smoke. It ended up working for me, and I was eventually able to get off of the mints as well because that became almost an addiction in and of itself. At the time, I was eating whatever amount of sugar I wanted to. I wasn't worrying about my weight. And then I remember around that time, that was in 2014, so that was around the time I lost the bulk of my weight as well. So most of that, I believe, was due to the fact that I gave up dairy out of my diet and switched to a vegan diet. So I lost a bunch of weight just from doing those two things alone without actually actively looking at my calories, looking at the fat and sugar and salt that I was eating, and those kinds of things as well. So because of that switch in my diet, I was able to lose a bunch of weight without even really trying. And so it's these last 30, 40 pounds that I really have to try for. And so that's kind of where I get caught up in this cycle of gaining and losing and gaining and losing. But yeah, so I just wanted to give an update and talk a little bit about how I'm feeling. and kind of go from there. I can't think if there's anything else that's kind of coming up. One exciting thing is that I'm getting a tattoo session this afternoon at 3. Um, so we're going to work on the green crystals on my sleeve. And then the next session is going to be the leaves. And then I think that there's some final kind of finishing stuff. You can see where the green crystals go in here, over here. So there are various places where those green crystals pop up that need to be filled in. And then I think one more session to kind of fill in gaps. Finish this flower, which needs some lines in it and some darker kind of colors to kind of give more depth, and stuff like that, should be the final session. Um, and then hopefully that's the final session. So then that way I can be done with the tattoos for a while. Um, I do have to save up some money for my last semester of my doctoral program because it doesn't hit the part time number of hours, which I need in order to get financial aid. So I will need to save up money for that and for my regalia, which costs like $1,000. It's ridiculous. Um, but you get to keep it forever, and wear it during like graduations and stuff like that. But it is a ridiculous amount of money to spend on regalia for what is essentially one night worth, um, of good use. Because I don't see myself wearing regalia at graduations. I just don't. Um, I could also rent it from the bookstore at on Western campus. So I may do that instead, but that does cost several $100s as well, I believe. So um, there's that opportunity as well that I have. I may go with that and then just buy regalia myself later if I feel like I need it. Just because I don't like to keep a lot of stuff around. I try to be minimalistic in my surroundings. It's kind of hard when you live with a maximalist, but I do try to keep stuff around me minimal, and not keep stuff around that I don't need. That's just taking up space. So that's why I'm going to think very intentionally about whether I need that or not. But yeah, so those are the updates. That's kind of where I'm at. And as always, I hope you all have a great day. Bye.